There are several reasons to upgrade things. People can steal your stuff, they add a megapixel, it has the name Apple attached to it, or, you've already given enough to charity. In the case of flashlights, it's usually lumens or the addition of strobe modes. You're like, I'm not sure about that second one, dude. Well, today I'm here to inform my subscribers to an upgrade of a flashlight I reviewed a while back. That flashlight was the MH20, and this one is called the MH20GT. So you're either like, what's the difference, homie? Or you've already bought it and you're seeking out confirmation bias. Sorry, you've wasted your money. Okay, I'm just kidding. Here's the deets. The MH20 and MH20GT are both compact flashlights with a built-in charging port. So as long as you add a battery and a charging block, like from your phone, you don't need a separate charger. And yes, I'm talking to the dude who commented on the MH20 video who didn't realize the light didn't come with a battery. Sorry, I guess I didn't make that clear enough. Both lights include the same stuff. Spare O-rings, a clip, a lanyard, a spare charge port, cover, holster, and some recyclable stuff. Or it's called garbage if you're a nihilist. Oh, and the flashlight. Now the differences are kind of subtle and you may not notice unless you have the keen eye of a YouTube flashlight reviewer. Like that's a real job. The first difference is that the bumps and ridges of the head have been smoothed out a bit so it doesn't chew the crap out of your pockets. And you don't get as much pleasure from it. It isn't a huge difference, but it's there. The next big change is the light is slightly larger. It's longer and a slightly larger reflector. I'll include the old dimensions alongside the new ones in case you think I'm bullshitting you. You're like, big whoop, what does that mean? Well, the larger reflector in combination with the other big difference, the new emitter, should contribute to better throw and slightly better lumen ratings. That means the MH20GT will highlight objects a bit further away than the standard MH20, in case you don't know what throw means. And yes, there are people who care about that. The MH20GT uses an emitter called an Cree XPL HIV3, which is different than the old XML2 U2 that the regular MH20 uses. The big difference is the XPL High lacks a clear dome over the emitter, like the Cree XML2 has on the old MH20. This means better throw. So a better throwing emitter and a bigger reflector should translate into better high-end numbers, right? Well, I'm glad you've asked because I've put the numbers from the old MH20 side by side with this one so you can see the difference. First is lower, then is low, then you have mid, then you have high, then there's turbo. All figures are my estimation based upon readings from my DIY measuring device. And one of these days I'm going to get around to showing you how I do that. Okay, so what about the run times? Also glad you asked. First is turbo, because that's all I'm going to do. You get a constant brightness for about 5 minutes before several minutes of stepping down that stabilizes about 10 minutes in. Then about an hour and 30 minutes, we get a steady decline until about 2 hours and 9 minutes. Then it shuts off. I used an unprotected 18650 3400 milliamp hour Panasonic cell for this test. The battery voltage at the cutoff was about 2.8 volts. Remember, I used a 3400 Nitecore for my old test. They use the same cell internally, so it's a Panasonic. Okay, what about the user interface? Well, if you have seen the MH20 video, it operates identically. For a full demonstration, please watch that review. Otherwise, here's a super quick overview. The MH20GT has a two-stage button, kind of like a camera shutter button, with a beacon backlight. So you press it fully to turn it on and off. So turn it on, you do half presses to scroll between the modes from lower all the way to turbo and back again. You can access lower, or sometimes called ultra low, with a shortcut from off by pressing and holding the switch halfway down, or you can access turbo by pressing and holding the switch all the way down. All three strobes are accessed when the light is on by pressing and holding the switch all the way down. Half presses switch between the strobes. The light has mode memory for constant output modes. Sorry, no strobes. That means when you turn the light on, it will have remembered the last mode you were on when you turned it off the prior time. Okay, you'll have to watch the other review for a slower and slightly more thorough explanation. Okay, finally we're doing the beam shots. I'll compare it to a few lights I have. Unfortunately, I no longer have the original MH20, which went to my mom. But here are some other lights along with tested figures for their highest output modes. I'll put the original figures for the MH20 on the MH20GT shot so you can see the difference in numbers on high. A few other lights here have the same emitters, and I'll just put them up there, including the new upcoming review that I'm going to have out of the Zebralight SC600 Mark III HI, which uses a D-domed emitter, but it's a different D-domed emitter. Anyway, I highly recommend you watch this and my original MH20 review to get a full picture of this light. I think it's a worthy upgrade, as long as you think it is. Okay, and I'll do a very unscientific comparison here. I'll put up the old MH20 beam shot and the new MH20GT beam shot. The camera settings are different, and they were shot months apart, and the framing is slightly different, but it should help you see the difference in beam pattern between the two lights. Oh, and another thing to mention, the MH20 and MH20GT have the exact same impact rating at 1.5 meters, and both have waterproof, dustproof ratings of IPX8. Make sure you realize this light only accepts button top cells, just like the original MH20. Flat tops won't work, and they haven't since the 90s. You can also use two non-rechargeable CR1238 batteries for shorter run times if you like throwing batteries away. Here's another unscientific test with some different tinted emitters, where you have a daylight on my floor on the left, and then you have the MH20 right next to it, GT, looks very close. Then you have a Zebralight neutral tinted 4500 Kelvin light and a cool white XML2, just a regular old XML tinted emitter, and that's actually quite a bit cooler than the daylight you see on the far left. The numbers are definitely improved on an already great light. Its compactness, its convenient USB charging ability, and its variety of carrying options all make both lights awesome. The MH20GT was provided by Nitecore for review. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, comment on the video, watch the old MH20 video, all my other videos, and give me a thumbs up because you're a humanitarian. Oh, and one more thing, a belated rest in peace to Five Dog. Whoever said the tribe can't flow.